Am I that desirable? Everyone, am I that good looking? Yeah, I know I am. But the thing is, why is it so important?
Today we'll be talking about why nice gentlemen are evil, and Ebraheem from Dubai Bling. Ramasani, how do you do? So, have you ever had a nice male friend after a year who blows up in your face and hurts you, and this whole time he had loved you all along and was so frustrated that it was not mutual, and finally he expresses his feelings and you say, sorry, I just saw you as a girlfriend. You know, we did many petties together. I had no idea that you saw me in that way and I'm just not interested. And then he blows up. Have you had this experience? Or let's say you were involved in a cause. When we're young and naive, we might do activism, right? Maybe Palestine, Black Lives Matter, or some are pro-Zionists, you know, whatever the cause may be, right? And then, right, or a feminist, let's say, and then after a year, your male feminist buddy blows up, and so you find out that he was involved in feminism purely because he was hoping to get laid, and so frustrated with all the work he did for the cause, that he did not get laid by being a white knight. Has this happened to you? Or let's say you're in activism and you date a nice male feminist activist and give him a chance, who shares your beliefs and throws rocks at your enemies. So what is the problem with that? You know, and then he wants to split the bill. He won't provide, he won't protect, and he won't commit. But he's a nice guy. He's a nice gentleman, right? You know what? Nice gentlemen are not so nice to ladies. Why is that? Why is it that the more rough, masculine gentlemen are often much kinder to ladies in the long term, even though they may be rough on the edges, but the very nice ones are often snakes and blow up in the end, or they don't provide or don't commit, are resentful, really want to force you to split the bill, or as long as there's a problem they run under your skirt. Why are they so problematic? Well, there's a scientific term called the Cuttlefish mating strategy, and Ebraheem of Dubai Bling is the perfect example of this. Why is there so much drama in Dubai Bling, mostly involving Ebraheem? Well, that's because he's nice. And this is called the Cuttlefish mating strategy. So, some say Ebraheem is gay. He's actually straight, and I'll prove it to you. And I'll show how cuttlefish will often pretend to be gay just to have your guard down because they're so unconfident, and then they pounce. And that's when you don't want anything to do with them because you didn't associate them as a potential male interest in the beginning, so you're disgusted by their affection, they feel used, and then they hurt you. Another problem with the cuttlefish mating strategy is not all gay gentlemen are actually gay. Many of them are straight or bisexual, but will play up the gay side to lower your guard so you'll become their friend, and then they may try to manipulate you into bed or into a relationship because they're so cowardly. However, at the same time, you know, as ladies, we're not attracted to someone who creeps up on us. We prefer someone who says in the beginning, who asks us out, says, I'm interested in you as a woman. And then you're maybe no, and then you can be friends afterward, which is what happened with my husband. But I knew from the beginning he was interested in me as a woman. My husband is masculine and consistently showed interest in me as a lady. And in the beginning I put him in the friend zone, but he met my father. And then my dad told me I should marry my friend, and I was like, no, I was not interested, blah, blah, blah. But both of them convinced me to give him a chance. What is the cuttlefish mating strategy? This is a term coined by Suhadeep. The cuttlefish is a fish where alpha males have harems and mate guard. And if you're not the alpha male, but you're male and you want to mate, they will disguise themselves as a female so that the alpha male would not notice them, and they will swim and hide as a female among the females, and when the alpha male is not looking, they will change colors so that a side of them will look more masculine or something of the sort, but the alpha male hopefully would not notice. Cuttlefish have performative niceness, so they do a lot of nice things for you that makes them feel entitled to bonking you or a relationship when you absolutely never asked for these things. That's an example of cuttlefish mating strategies. So they try to do all these nice things and act feminine to lower your guard, and a year later, I did all these things for you, so I'm entitled, right, to a relationship, and you're shocked. No, I just saw you as a friend. I don't feel this way. So, I had a friend in this situation. I'll be talking about how Ebraheem is a cuttlefish to Danya. However, I had a friend who, her friend, let's call him Bobby, was a classic cuttlefish. So I'll be telling some of my cuttlefish stories, as well as, of course, we'll go to Danya and Ebraheem later. So we'll call my friend Amy, and she had a friend called Bobby, right? And they did pedicures together. I know, it's absurd. So they went shopping together, they watched rom-coms together, and they were besties. So Bobby would always pester Amy, because Amy lived in downtown Ottawa, and he would pester her. Oh, I happen to be downtown, right? Would you like a ride? Very often, Amy said sure, though she didn't mind taking the public transit, because it's not bad here. But she thought, you know what, she'll catch up with Bobby, and they'll have a cappuccino, maybe a latte, and gossip a bit. Maybe, her complaining about some exes, right? Talking about the next rom-com they should see together, when they should go shopping, gossip about celebrities, Well, to her shock, right? So also, Bobby was a really good friend, and he helped her move. He changed the light bulbs, right? He took her to Home Depot, got the light bulbs, put them in, etc., right? When her light bulbs went out. A year later. And she didn't ask for any of this because she could have easily gone herself and fixed it, right? The only thing was help moving, right? And then, a year later, Bobby says, I drove you everywhere, I'm so nice, okay? I helped you move, okay? And I fixed your light bulbs, okay? I watch all these rom-coms with you, okay? And, I listened to you about all those bad boys, alright? So, could you be my girlfriend? She said, Bobby, I thought you were gay. We're friends, I just don't feel for you this way. Bobby said, but I did all that for you. Could you at least not give me a Mercy BJ for all my effort? She was shocked. And that, my dear, is a cuttlefish, and that's why they're dangerous. And he was so upset. He was so mean and petty to her after, because he thought he was being used when she never asked him to do any of that. And then she blocked him. I'll be going into more examples of performative niceness and cuttlefish red flags before we'll go into the story of Ebraheem and Danya from Dubai Bling. An awful example of cuttlefish are the fake gays. So I had a colleague who worked for a LGBT NGO or office or something of this sort, and so he knew what's going on in my field, and we were at a networking event and we were discussing all the career opportunities, and at the time I thought, if I get a better job offer, I can negotiate my salary, so what he's saying sounds interesting to me, right? And, we were acquaintances, colleagues, and he said, oh, do you want to continue this conversation with coffee? I said, sure, and it was in the evening, and so there was a place that was open next door to the event, and we continued discussing 100% business, what opportunities are available there in the field and so on, that he knew, connections he knew. And it was a bit late, and I said, you know what, it's rather late and I think I should go home. He said, splendid, do you want me to walk you home? I would absolutely say no to any straight gentleman walking me home, because several of my friends had this problem, that their date then would say, oh, I need to use the washroom, and they'd go upstairs and then their date would grab them. So walking you, driving you home, I have so many stories. It's a no. Gentlemen will always manipulate this to get laid. So if he walks you or drives you home, that's an invitation for boinking. You don't want to boink shaboink? Then don't let a gentleman walk you home or drive you home. So I thought, this gentleman was gay. Let's call him Alice. So I thought Alice was gay, right? As my colleague, and he was talking so much about LGBT rights. For me, it doesn't matter, but it's a big deal to him. I said, good for you, achieving so much for that community, etc., right? And he was talking about, things, well, so I did this and this for the LGBT community, and I put that on my resume, so when you apply, highlight this or highlight that, right? So I thought, he had a lisp. If you look at opportunity, so, I thought, and he was much more effeminate and feminine in his mannerisms than I am. So I assumed, by everything he said, was doing, how his friends treated him having many gay friends, I assumed that he had to be gay, right? It was a false assumption. So, darling, nice nails. Where should I get my mani-pedi done? Oh, I said, I go to the salon. So, let's look at your resume. So what do you highlight on your resume? I cannot imitate him. But, he was a caricature of a drag queen, and I think that must be the signal, okay? Because my actual gay friends, they don't talk like that. They're just gay, and some of them, they are fun, they have a bit of a fun vibe, but they're not, they don't play into it that much. So then Alice invited me to go to a gay party that a couple of his gay friends were hosting, and at the time I worked for a left-wing party in politics, and he worked for an NGO that works with my party and so on. So he knows a lot of people, he's so well connected because he works with everyone. And he was like, oh, this is an opportunity to network, right? So, you should come if you come. I said, thank you for the idea, okay. Then, Alice said, darling, it's getting late. I said, yes. So, could I walk you part of the way? I said, sure, why not? Because at the time I thought, he's gay. You know, I will know who to talk to. He was always giving me tips to talk to this person, say that thing, put that there. It was always work tips that would help me negotiate my salary. So of course I was highly interested in that. I was not interested in Alice at all, but the conversation I found interesting. Many gentlemen will take talking to them about any subject at all as an indicator of interest if you talk a lot with them. So I learned this the hard way. Anyway, I thought he was gay. I thought he was harmless, and he wouldn't be walking and then oops, his apartment, right? But sure enough, that's exactly what happened. So I was walking with Alice, and the next thing I know, he said, "Darling, my phone is dying." I said, "Okay, it's dying. My apartment is like over there." I said, "Okay." So I said, "You know what? We can part ways, and I hope you have a lovely evening. Thank you for taking me part of the way, and thank you for all your tips. I appreciate them so much." And Alice said, "Darling, no, it's not safe out there at night." I thought, how on earth can you protect me? Maybe I should protect you. But I thought that, and I was appreciating the tips. So then I was waiting downstairs, and then, he said, "Well, come inside." And then I was inside. "Well, I'm not comfortable with you in the hallway." I thought, okay. And I'm trying to imitate him as best I can. His voice is unimitable. So, right? And the way he dressed with the pink and everything and the handbag. I really thought he was, gay. So he was walking like this with his handbag. He lied and said, "The security will have a problem here if you're downstairs here, so you can come upstairs." I said, "In my culture that's not appropriate." He said, well, I'm gay, sister. It doesn't matter. I'm not gonna harm you. I'm gay. Sister, I'm gay. And then holding his little handbag. So, I believed him, and I absolutely should not have. So, we went upstairs to his apartment. I stood outside the apartment, said, "I'll wait for you while you charge your phone. And then when you're finished, you wanted to walk me the rest of the way, you insist, then we can do so, or I can leave you here, bid you good night, and go home." He said, no, you can wait. And then he came back, he said, "Sister, I'm gay. Come in. I thought, I don't bite. So I thought, okay, you know what? This is so odd, but if he's really gay, I'm in Canada. I should not be a stuck-up Muslim lady. Wrong. As Donald Trump says, wrong. So I went indoors. He told me to wait, and then he came back in only his underwear, and I screamed and I ran off. I was shocked beyond anything in my life. He even tried to grab me, but I was fast out of the door. That was a rather traumatizing experience. So then I told a friend of mine, a colleague, "Did you know that Alice is not gay?" She said, "Ah, did he do it to you?" I said, "What?" yes, unfortunately he's not gay. And I said, did what? And she said, well, did he take you out drinking? I said, no. But you know what? He took me out late at night. She said, and he walked me home and he got me drunk. I said, yes. So he got me up late after work, happy hour, kept buying me drinks, right? And it was rather late. I said, yes, he got me coffee, but he got her alcohol, right? And that's the problem. And then he offered to walk her home and right? And she did not suspect at all. And he played the same apartment trick, right? But she was drunk and he invited her to sit on the couch, and then he came up in his underwear, right? And he started making out with her against, she was too tired. She was so tired. She kept pushing him away. And then she was like, okay, whatever. And she said, she ended up sleeping with him, even though she didn't want to. She was so tired and she just wanted to sleep. She didn't realize he got her drunk, but he did on purpose. And, the next day she had to have the walk of shame. So that's how he lures ladies into his apartment. I am so lucky, that I grew up in a Muslim country and I don't drink with gentlemen. Ladies, don't drink with gentlemen, not your colleagues or anything. If you have a work function at most, have a glass of wine. That's it. You finish it, not more. Never let gentlemen walk you home, even if they are gay. Then, the other gentlemen who are bisexual, right? They might, and even some gay gentlemen. So the problem with those is some of them, they want children, but they like men. So there are, of course, rumors that Justin Trudeau is that sort, right? And I cannot confirm or deny. But of course, he wanted a wife and kids, and they got divorced. And there are rumors they got divorced because he was cheating on her with gentlemen. And, if someone's cheating on you, it's not hygienic, right? So this does happen. And many gentlemen who are bi, are actually not bi, but they do want to start a family with a lady. They do want kids, and gentlemen don't produce kids. And once they have their wife and kids, then they have their fun on the side, and you end up being in a lavender marriage, right? So be careful, ladies. Watch out for this. The last form of cuttlefish we'll be talking about before we get to Danny and Ebraheem is the activist or male feminist boyfriend who shares all your politics that benefits ladies and doesn't benefit gentlemen. And you're thinking he's doing this to be a good person. But if he doesn't have masculine views that benefit him, if he's not clear with his self-interest, then he's just pretending to care about what you care about in hopes of bonking you. Do understand this, that nice men are still men. They want to bonk just the same, but unlike masculine men, they're cowards. The activist male feminist boyfriend throws rocks at your enemies online, and he shares all your political views that don't benefit him, and then he invites you to go on a date to the dingiest, cheapest kebab shop, where he splits the bill in half to eat half of your kebab. He won't provide, he won't protect, he won't judge your outfit. and he won't commit, and he won't cherish you, but he shares all your views and is faking a relationship to get laid. And he hopes to manipulate you to have half the bills paid. A friend of mine dated a handsome, progressive, young, male feminist artist because he was cute, he was hot. She didn't mind the fact that he was effeminate, so what? And she thought, oh, he's my knight in shining armor. He supports all my views and throws rocks at my enemies on Twitter. That's the key, when they throw rocks at your enemies, when this is called white knighting. It's faux masculinity. And that's the symbol of the cuttlefish. That's what they do, right? They will be scared to stand up for you in the real world. But, they can say something mean to some lady on the internet. Oh, you're so bad that you support the Republicans, how mean, blah, blah, blah. You look stupid wearing fur, anything of this type. Standing up for you with women, this sort of a thing. That there is no threat, right? But he'll stand up for you in front of other women when you have a cat fight with some other lady. You're thinking, oh, he's my knight in shining armor. If he stands up for you, well, there are consequences. Then he's a knight for shining armor. Otherwise, he's white knighting, right? So, and this is something my friend didn't know. And Ebraheem white knights a lot. So cuttlefish will go around and white knight for you. Then they feel entitled that you owe them because they posted feminist memes on the internet for a year, and on top of that, they did their nails with you and went shopping with you, therefore they're entitled to free kitty. And if you don't give them, they get so upset, they feel used, they erupt, right? So my friend was sick, and he invited both her, right, as his plus one. Then he invited her best friend, who works for the student journalist newspaper, to the vernissage, right? And when that was the vernissage, my friend was sick, but her friend came there. And, it was in advance that she was on the list, right? And the artist, who was one of his mentors, decided to throw his weight, and throw a fit. Je suis l'artiste. I am the great artiste. Who are you? And she said, oh, I'm Susie from university newspaper, right? And she showed the invite. She said, I don't recall anyone from university newspaper. And she said, but I have the invite, right? And she did. And so then the lady's boyfriend, what happened to him is he ran off in the loo and locked himself in the bathroom instead of dealing with the situation at hand, right? Because he was so nice, he wanted to avoid conflict. So my friend's best friend was shocked, right? And she thought, okay, you don't want coverage, for Jason in the student paper. Okay, he doesn't want coverage. Okay, fine by me. And she had her hair done, makeup done, everything. So, okay. And she walked off, right? Of course she was upset, right? She got all the way there, hair and makeup, all the stuff. And, in front of everyone, who are you? Go away. And my friend's boyfriend hid in the bathroom. Right? He was so nice. He avoided every conflict. A friend of mine dated a handsome, progressive, young, male feminist artist because he was cute, he was hot. She didn't mind the fact that he was effeminate, so what? And she thought, oh, he's my knight in shining armor. He supports all my views and throws rocks at my enemies on Twitter. That's the key, when they throw rocks at your enemies, when this is called white knighting. It's faux masculinity. And that's the symbol of the cuttlefish. That's what they do, right? They will be scared to stand up for you in the real world. But, they can say something mean to some lady on the internet. Oh, you're so bad that you support the Republicans, how mean, blah, blah, blah. You look stupid wearing fur, anything of this type. Standing up for you with women, this sort of a thing. That there is no threat, right? But he'll stand up for you in front of other women when you have a cat fight with some other lady. You're thinking, oh, he's my knight in shining armor. If he stands up for you, well, there are consequences. Then he's a knight for shining armor. Otherwise, he's white knighting, right? So, and this is something my friend didn't know. And Ebraheem white knights a lot. So cuttlefish will go around and white knight for you. Then they feel entitled that you owe them because they posted feminist memes on the internet for a year, and on top of that, they did their nails with you and went shopping with you, therefore they're entitled to free kitty. And if you don't give them, they get so upset, they feel used, they erupt, right? So my friend was sick, and he invited both her, right, as his plus one. Then he invited her best friend, who works for the student journalist newspaper, to the vernissage, right? And when that was the vernissage, my friend was sick, but her friend came there. And, it was in advance that she was on the list, right? And the artist, who was one of his mentors, decided to throw his weight, and throw a fit. Je suis l'artiste. I am the great artiste. Who are you? And she said, oh, I'm Susie from university newspaper, right? And she showed the invite. She said, I don't recall anyone from university newspaper. And she said, but I have the invite, right? And she did. And so then the lady's boyfriend, what happened to him is he ran off in the loo and locked himself in the bathroom instead of dealing with the situation at hand, right? Because he was so nice, he wanted to avoid conflict. So my friend's best friend was shocked, right? And she thought, okay, you don't want coverage, for Jason in the student paper. Okay, he doesn't want coverage. Okay, fine by me. And she had her hair done, makeup done, everything. So, okay. And she walked off, right? Of course she was upset, right? She got all the way there, hair and makeup, all the stuff. And, in front of everyone, who are you? Go away. And my friend's boyfriend hid in the bathroom. Right? He was so nice, he avoided every conflict. So, what would a masculine gentleman do in this situation? He wouldn't run away and hide in the loo. He would go up to his mentor and say, excuse me, she was on the invite list. And he would say, if she leaves, I leave, my paintings go, and the vernissage is over. I don't accept this treatment of myself or my guests. A masculine gentleman protects his guests and his company. So if you invite someone and, his colleague, his mentor, his boss starts shouting inappropriately at you, he will defend you. It's so easy for gentlemen to virtue signal, to say that Trump is a meanie, right? And that, he's a feminist and progressive and blah, blah, blah. That's so easy, right? But what's hard is when he stands up for you, when there is a risk or consequence, and stands up for you and his guests. When someone is rude to them, for example, his mentor, his boss, and says, I don't appreciate this behavior, and if it doesn't stop, I leave, right? That's being assertive, right? So it takes manliness and courage, right? And this side of gentlemen is the side we don't appreciate, right? So, for example, one of my husband and my friends is a businessman and very successful, built himself from nothing. I respect him so much. He is a king to his wife. He treats her like a queen, okay? So there is nothing he won't do for her, and it's just, their love is so lovely. He's also a Republican, and he goes to the gym every day, and he's always all about his nutrition, his diet, bodybuilding, this sort of a thing. And I don't always agree with his beliefs because they're a bit far. But, and he is religious, right? I don't share quite a few of his beliefs. We agree to disagree on so many things, but I do appreciate his work ethic. I appreciate how he treats his wife like an absolute goddess, okay? So, you don't always have the same views as your gentleman, because the right wing appeals to the masculine and the left wing appeals to the feminine, and that's how they target their voters. So if you go for a gentleman who shares all your views, he might not be able to provide, protect, commit. Now, in the story, I'll call my friend Nessie, right? So, first of all, right, her friend was kicked out of the vernissage and her boyfriend was hiding in the bathroom. In addition to her boyfriend hiding in the loo, it took him a while to get any sort of commitment. So when they're going out together, she was asking where it's going, and he'd always be splitting on dates, etc., not taking her anywhere nice. But she thought, you know what, we're students, this is normal. Don't date students, right? So she thought, oh, this is normal, blah, 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 right? That, oh, we're students. Yeah. He actually had an allowance, right? So for a while, where's this going? Oh, we're just having fun. At least Nessie was smart enough not to do it with someone who's not her boyfriend. She's like, I like making out with you, but I won't hook up because you're not my boyfriend. So he, looked around and he realized the girl who he liked didn't like him back, and the other girl he liked didn't like him back, so he was stuck with Nessie. So he thought he'd fake a relationship to get laid. Said, okay, we're boyfriend, girlfriend now. And she was so happy, and so then she was intimate with him. And then after a while, she's like, I want to get married. He's like, I'm so young, I don't want anything serious, blah, blah, blah. So yeah, 2 years, nothing. He wouldn't provide, he wouldn't protect, he wouldn't commit. So Nessie dumped the cute artist because I told her from the beginning, it's not going to go anywhere. He's just not serious. So in 2 years she asked him, I want to go to the next step of the relationship, let's get married. He said, no, let's move in together. And she realized, it sounds fishy the way he said it. So she asked me, and I said he wants a free maid, free chef, free escort, and half the bills paid, right? I knew this one feminine diplomat who would basically fake relationships to get cheaper rent. He said, you save so much, and you have a free maid and you have a free cook, and just dangle commitment, maybe yes, maybe no. And the woman who wanted to do half your chores will do everything in hopes of auditioning for that commitment, right? And then she'll start doing all the chores in hopes of getting that commitment. And maybe yes, maybe no. Maybe you'll find something better. And he plays with her feelings. So, ladies, be careful. There are a lot of predators out there who act nice. Just because they're nice doesn't mean that they are kind or have any good